Way back on April 10th, 1991, I became a first-time homeowner. Hard to believe that was 34 years ago. I had scrimped and saved and lived with my parents for several years prior to making the down payment. And finally, I had my dream house. So on that day in April, I was handed the keys and entered as the new owner, the owner of all the possibilities of a new home and all of the problems. Truth be told, the house on Mill Road in Seaford was the only house on the face of the earth I could afford. It had good bones, but it was a wreck. To call it a fixer-upper would have been kind. This old house had lime green shingles, pea soup green walls, green carpeting, wallpaper painted over in every room, mostly in green, leaks in the basement, inefficient oil heating, and a somewhat bruised 1950s kitchen with a red counter, creaky floors, and chocolate brown appliances. For a long time, I didn't have the money to do anything, but thanks to the help of my mom and dad, we made it habitable while I figured out my master plan. But here's the thing. After several months, I just didn't notice the imperfections anymore. I developed this mutant power that allowed me to ignore the cracks in the wallpaper beneath the layers of paint, what appeared to be soot on the walls, and the faded silver wallpaper and pink porcelain in the bathroom. Yeah, it's as good as it sounded. Whenever anyone dropped by to see my new place, they would look around and murmur, "It's nice," in a not too convincing tone. The reality was I couldn't see the imperfections and problems because I quickly got used to them. And I needed to defer lots of critical maintenance. Maybe it was easier for me not to see the problems as I tried to get my act together. Plausible deniability. It took a long time, and I had to work through every room, stripping wallpaper, repairing drywall, wielding a paint roller, and then later hiring expert contractors when I had more money. I had to make careful decisions about what I could do and what I couldn't with the money I was able to budget. Spoiler alert, it took a number of years for central air conditioning, but when it happened, there was no going back. My hot house was infinitely more comfortable and usable. When I sold the house in 2018, my home netted nearly 4 times the price I'd paid. And it had been the location of numerous dinner parties, brunches, holidays, cocktail parties, and an annual fabulous deck party. All that work delivered a great deal of living and pleasure back to me. Here at Holy Trinity, we have some work to do on this old church. There are certain steps we need to take to prepare for the installation of our new organ sometime in late 2026 or early 2027. You may have wondered what's been happening on that front, and let me tell you, there's been a lot going on. We organized a task force of Pastor Tim, Stacy Flatt, Jen Nelson, Garrett Biederman, Austin Filman, and me. We interviewed several of the top architectural firms who deal in church restoration and organ installation, and chose Atchison Doyle Partners, ADP, to do a preliminary design study. Not the plan, but what we would need to consider and how much it might cost. ADP has been working for months, engaging experts from top to bottom, the structure of the organ loft to the state of the floor. These experts have inspected the entire building from the basement to the roof. We've got a lot of information now. We've got some good news, and we've got some decisions that we have to make. But we have the information we need to prepare for the organ and make this old church a building that thrives in the decades to come. Take a minute to look around our church. What do you see? Have you noticed cracks in the plaster? Take a look at the floor. Are we missing some pews? Why is that? I'm going to do what Eric Flatt did to me a couple of months ago and point out the popped nail at the top of the arch in the ceiling. Now you'll never not see it again. Open your eyes and you'll start to see what you need to do, what we need to do, and we'll lay out the rest of the story for you. So here's what we often call the big teaser. We're going to spend the summer telling you the story of this old church. Pay attention. Listen at the end of Mass, attend the coffee hour talks, take tours with us, read the church newsletter. I'm talking to you, Kathy Yates. By the end of the summer, you will have all the information you need to make an informed decision about what actions we as a congregation should take for the arrival of the organ and for the future viability of our church building. So stay tuned, as they say. Pastor Tim, back to you.